Am I the butthole for telling my 28 fiancee, 29, that I could not rely on her in a life or death situation? I have what I think is a very good sense of situational awareness. I'm a quick thinker and I tend to not panic in dangerous situations. My fiancée, on the other hand, is the exact opposite. If I'm being nice, I would say she does have any awareness of danger. If I'm being honest, I would say that she has the survival instinct of panda raised in captivity. She had no sense of danger around her, doesn't constantly examine her surroundings for things that could be dangerous, and when things are bad, her reaction is to panic and scream. Friday, we went out on a friend of mine's boat and we got into a dangerous situation. We were anticipating light rain, but we ended up with a downpour, high winds and high waves. While me and the other men there were trying to strap things down and keep the boat from capsizing. My fiancée screamed and cried for dear life. She was in hysterics. And I get it was a scary situation, but her yelling and screaming that we're all gonna die and for God to save us, and literally crying saying that it's my fault that she's on the boat since I asked her to come with. None of the other GFS or wives were doing this, just her. I'm sure the other women there were just as scared but tried to keep it in for the sake of the men doing something about it. The downpour was really bad for about 15 minutes. So 15 minutes of wailing while we are doing everything we can to keep things all right. We made it back safe with little more damage than a few spilled white claws. On the car ride home, I told my fiancée that we needed to talk about how she was behaving during the crisis. Not only was it incredibly embarrassing in front of my boys, but it was distracting, unhelpful, and telling. I told her that today proved to me that if I was in a life or death situation, I could not rely on her to be any help or do anything except make things more stressful. I said she needed to learn how to not panic and be helpful. She got unbelievably mad. She said she thought she was going to die and had reason to freak out. I told her that all of us were scared, but none of us were as ridiculous as she was. We argued the entire ride home and she is still pissed off on me. I think I was right to say this, especially since we plan on spending our lives together and raising a family, and I can't be the only level-headed one. Am I the butthole? Edit. Oh my fucking god. The women there did not help because they did not know how to help. The men there have been out together on the boat countless times before, so we all are experienced and know exactly what to do. It's so much more unsafe for them to be in our way attempting to help if they don't really know what they're doing. It's safer for everyone if they just hang on and keep calm until the issue is resolved. This has nothing to do with them being women. It has everything to do with them not knowing what to do. If another guy had been then and didn't know what to do, I'd tell him to sit tight and let those of us that do know handle it. Not the butthole. She can feel and react however she pleases, but that doesn't change the facts. So you're correct. She was unhelpful and only made an already scary situation even more stressful. It's indeed a very useful skill to have, to be able to think somewhat straight in a crisis situation. Or at the very least have the sense to not make it worse for those who are trying to help.
Not sure you handled the delivery well, but it's a fair concern. If you have children, she cannot freak out every time she is scared. Unfortunately, she probably learned this from her parents, and well would pass it on. Not the butthole, though the delivery sounds flawed. Would work on that. There is probably an apology needed there. You may need counseling on this, but ultimately it probably will never change. You just need to decide if it impacts your long-term plans.
Everybody sucks here. Maybe a little harsh, but true. Her reasoning of "I thought I was going to die" really only helps your point. Does she not understand that any life or death situation is going to feel like that? Although, you should probably be more concerned with your hysterical fiancé thinking she's about to die instead of what your friends are going to think.
Not the butthole. You're absolutely correct that her behavior was unhelpful and actually resulted in a more dangerous situation because of her distractions. I don't know if I could be with someone who has so little awareness. Maybe therapy can help, but being a person that enjoys outdoor activities that involve risks, not sure I would stick that out.
What exactly was your aim with this discussion? Because it sounds to me like you wanted to put your fiancée in her place, rather than talk about her traumatic experience and try to understand what happened with her, so that you could help her manage her stress response better next time. Face it, you were absolutely not trying to help at all by bringing this up with her in the way you did. You were not solutions focused, you wanted to assign blame and guilt. Think about one thing though, you're not even helping yourself by doing this, because now you've only put extra doubt in your fiancé's mind the next time any situation comes up. You are the butthole to your fiancé and to yourself in the long run. I'm not even touching the misogynistic overtones in your post, other commenters will cover that better. Brace yourself to get absolutely clobbered by am I the butthole on this one.
Not the butthole. That behavior is absolutely ridiculous. How does it help her to behave that way? And it is definitely distracting for those trying to mitigate the situation. This is the one and only instance where dealing someone acting like that a bracing smack across the face is justified. And don't tell me she couldn't control herself, because I don't buy that for an instant. A 5-year-old can be quiet, and often will be from instinct alone, in a dangerous situation. How does she explain the behavior of the other people there who also thought they might die? I am sorry to say that my mother is just like this, and even as a child I absolutely could not trust her to behave rationally when bad things happened. Even a minor injury, to me not her, sent her wailing to her room and I had to take care of myself. Her mother, my grandma, told me that when they were in a car accident she stood there and screamed until her mother slapped her. She was totally uninjured but just only cared that she was scared, not that other people were also being affected. I once asked her why she acts like that in emergencies, and basically the answer is, because I feel like it and see no reason to try to control myself.
Years ago, the store I was working at was robbed at gunpoint by 4 guys. There was myself, the boss, and 2 other women present at the time. Was I scared? #K yes. Did I instinctively know that panicking was the worst thing I could do? Another #K yes. Myself, the boss, and one of the other girls working kept our heads pretty straight despite having a gun to our faces. The other woman was screaming bloody murder. High-pitched shrieking, crying, yelling for her mother, she was in her 40s, to save her, etc., etc. I couldn't help but thinking at the time that I would have shot her myself just to shut her up. I was terrified that her behavior was going to set them off and someone was going to get shot. Luckily, no one was hurt in the incident, but you see who people really are when the chips are down. Ta.